We all have our own answer to the question, who would you invite to your dream dinner party? After all, a good meal is nothing without great company. So Allbirds is asking people to put their cards on the table and get to know each other's true nature.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks.
Cheers.
Thank you so much.
This was lovely.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Would you introduce yourself?
My name's Love. I'm a musician.
I'm Anne-Marie Maffedon. I'm a technologist. I love maths, tech, and helping people.
I'm Hassan. I'm a comedian. And I wish I was doing something as cool as being a technologist.
First of all, eat if you're hungry, drink if you're dry. Ready?
Okay.
What are you trying to express to the world by how you dress? Give it to me hot.
Oh, because I'm wearing the powder blue suit.
Yeah.
The skirt suit. Joy. Timeless joy.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah. You too, I see.
I like to dress nicely. I just think it shows self-respect and respect for others.
We're on the same wavelength.
Yeah, I like
a
a
level to
proper
kinda hold
thing. I
yourself
like
to,
to put
yeah.
on a suit and a tie.
Yeah.
I love tuxedo. I love all that stuff.
And what are your thoughts on T-shirts?
Yeah, when you're working out. Yeah.
Oh, but otherwise, no. We need...
No, I don't do that. In the summer on the beach.
Got it. Do you wear sweatpants?
Not right now.
No, but ever.
Yes, but they are merino wool.
Yes, they are.
Of course they are.
Of course, they are.
Of course they
Of course they are.
They whisk away the sweat.
Gotcha. Yeah.
How fun is it that we have these ways to express ourselves without saying a word?
Yeah.
I'll tell you what I've
What
come
about
to
you?
appreciate. The power of a collar.
Okay.
Of a collar.
Just literally a collar.
Yeah.
In comedy, so much of it, because of it, it's kind of like a basement nightclub art form. You a lot of times as a comic, when you're doing time in New York City, you're doing it in a T-shirt.
Yeah.
But it actually came from jazz clubs and in comedy clubs. Like a jazz performer would perform, and then a nightclub act,
Yeah.
a comic would perform, and they would perform in a suit. There is something really cool about being like, no, I'm going to dress up a little bit because I'm putting on the show.
Okay, so this says, if you had no responsibilities, how would you spend your days? I actually have an answer to this question.
There you go.
Because I wish and I dream and I daydream all the time that I have no responsibilities. I would sit on a beach on the east coast of Kenya and do maths problems all the time. So I discovered a new part of maths called ethnomathematics. So looking at ethnography of people and history and matching that up with maths. Because there's different mathematics of different civilizations that you've had. And there's also mathematics of different like societies and different ethnic groups. So I'd sit on the beach in Kenya and do that and explore it.
Can I ask something? And I've always been jealous of people who are really good at math.
Yeah.
I'm scared now of what this question is.
I thought I was good at math when I was a child.
Okay.
But there was always the moment where math goes from numbers to not numbers.
Yeah.
And that's when I flipped the table.
I had
Okay.
the exact
Yeah,
same
I was like,
thing.
I'm out.
I was a year ahead in math until
Yeah.
like it turned into
Yeah, not fun.
a plus and minus.
Yeah,
when
it's
it-
not
all
a
of a
game
sudden,
anymore.
when you had to apply logic.
Logic, I love it. It's so true and it just holds and there's no fuzziness. Life is so fuzzy and so messy and logic it tends not to be. I did a maths master's and there were no,
And
didn't
you were
really have
like,
we had no numbers.
You were like 12
I was,
or something
I was
when you
17,
did it.
yeah.
Oh my God.
I did it at Oxford. I did it with
That's
maths
so
and computer science. But
I love women in STEM.
hey!
Women in STEM.
What would anybody else do if they had no responsibilities?
My dream would be to live the life of your Instagram grid. Stanley, the life you are living in Grid. It's simultaneously aspirational, but anti-capitalistic. So it'll be like tax day and you'll be like, hey, it's 3 p.m. and I thought I'd make a gazpacho. And I'm like, Stanley, motherfuckers are filing their W-2s and W-9s. They're in TurboTax, and you're making a delicious gazpacho. It's like, what do I have to do to get there?
Listen, It's a thing that just happened. It's a world I still don't really know or understand at my age. It's great fun.
Yeah.
I really do love doing it.
Stanley, you don't know this. You're very popular at an airport. They have this thing called Hudson Newsstand where they,
Yeah, I know
they have
Hudson,
different books.
yeah.
And not to brag, I'll be on a flight to Charlotte. And
Go ahead.
I'll walk by the Hudson Newsstand and I'll see your just Tucci cookbook. And I go, what mistakes did I make in my life that got me to this Bojangles at the Charlotte airport? And what do I have to do to turn this ship
Right,
around so I could
right.
be the front cover of that book, brought to you by Simon & Schuster?
All you have to do, thank you. Sales are going to plummet now.
The feeling that I'm chasing is this feeling of like
A whole life.
a whole life. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
No, and that's why
Real
I do it.
happiness and
Yeah.
joy and-
Yeah, and I'm always searching for that. We all are. It's always that balance when you have a family. You just want everyone to be happy. You want everyone to be secure, but you also have to make yourself happy,
Yeah.
right? Otherwise, if you're miserable,
Doesn't-
you'll make them miserable.
Yeah, yeah.
Just ask my daughter. She's here.
Name a completely irrational fear of yours. I'm really good at rationalizing things, so my most irrational fears, like I've rationalized them. They all make sense to me.
Like what?
Like not being able to fall asleep for like days.
Really?
Yeah. But
Just insomnia.
that's- yeah.
Yeah.
That's like I had like 2 nights last year or 3 nights in a row where I
So you didn't sleep?
just could not
oh
fall
my
asleep.
goodness.
Like
You've got to
72
get. Have you
hours or
tried
something?
And
magnesium?
it was I have tried everything. That's like my irrational fear, just never being able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
I have an irrational but rational one. I don't fuck with ghosts, spirits, or tarot cards. Like I get really upset when people try to push that on me.
Did you get kind of nervous when you saw the box?
A little bit, yeah. Yeah. So people are like, this is fun. I'm like,
No.
the dark arts? You think the dark arts are fun?
They're not a joke.
And then
yeah.
I'm just like, no.
Yeah.
Why disturb the other realm? And by the way, I'm doing Pascal's wager. Just assume, even if it doesn't exist, in the rare event that it does exist, you really want to fuck with ghosts?
You sound more and more like my dad with every single answer that you give.
Is your dad Indian?
No, my dad's not Indian. My dad's Nigerian.
Well,
Like the
Nigerians and
occult,
Indians were very
yeah,
much
no,
like this.
It's
Yeah.
like the occult. Like these things are very real. So why would you? We call it juju. Like why would you?
Oh, juju,
Yeah,
yeah.
Like why would you dabble with that? Like it's not a joke. People turn into yams or you have like flying goats. Like these are real things that really happen.
Yeah.
So don't dabble. But so
She goes,
you know, that would be like that's irrational.
Describe a rebel you admire.
I'd probably say my parents.
Parents.
Yeah. I think as I've gotten older, there's been a few like memories that I've had where they just don't accept the status quo. And I was like, oh, that's so badass. Sometimes my dad will be at the register. He'll tell him the price. And he'll just go, no. And the person won't get, is he joking? Is he bartering?
Right.
Is he bargaining? When I was a kid, I used to think that was so embarrassing. And I just think that
But he was doing it on
so-
purpose.
I don't know. I think legitimately as someone,
Like he really was
I think as
shocked.
someone who grew up in India, the price isn't the price.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
but
It's a starting
But as I've gotten older, and if you're reading a book, or if you're engaging with the news, or you're engaging in something in culture, you shouldn't just accept it at face value. There should be like a level of, really?
Yeah.
There should be some form of
Interrogation.
interrogation to it.
So a rebel that I admire is a lady called Stephanie Shirley. And I think she ended up being a mathematician for the post office in the UK and built up her career, did really well, whatever. And then she was married, so she had a kid. And at that point, the done thing was that when you had children, you didn't go back to work again. And ended up banding together lots of other frustrated mathematicians at home who were also women that had kids. And in the 1960s, she started this tech company, basically, of them using their maths knowledge to solve problems, but working from home. And it was big projects. So they did the flight receiver for Concorde. They did stock control systems. They did the train timetables. They did all of this stuff. Her name was Stephanie, but she changed her name to Steve, or she like went by Steve for business purposes.
Oh, interesting.
So would turn up to business meetings as Steve Shirley, and they'd be like looking around. She'd be like, "Yeah, that's me." They'd be like, "Huh?" And she'd be like, "Well, are we going to do this or not?"
You mean the way like authors would change their name?
Exactly.
You would
But,
change your name on
she
a
still had
CV,
to do
so-
business like in person.
Interesting.
She's a rebel I admire because everyone had always said like miniskirts and Twiggy was like what happened in the 1960s, and I'm like, okay, cool, that happened. But she was doing this and building this company and doing really well. But also she was doing that at a time when she needed a husband or a father to open a bank account, a husband or a father to like, buy a house, to do all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
And so almost every morning I wake up and I'm like, I don't need a husband or a father. So what have I done today?
Wow.
So she's a rebel that I admire.
That's amazing. What's a really good piece of advice you received at a critical moment?
The first time I had kind of like a mean review of a concert, I was having a little hotel cry as it happens. And John Batiste happened
Yeah,
to call me
sure, yeah.
at that time because he was inquiring about going to the next concert on my tour. And he was like, "Hi, how are you? Are you okay?" I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay." And I kind of explained to him what happened. He was like, "Don't read the reviews." But
Yeah.
now I still do in secret. But
But you don't tell John Beck.
but nobody knows. Now they do. But
Yeah.
When you're working on music, how do you know when a song feels done or it feels complete?
this is very topical. 'Cause
Really?
I'm working on my new album.
Oh,
I've been doing
cool.
exactly this
That's awesome.
the past few weeks. What does perfect even mean?
Yeah,
Art is
no.
so subjective.
Yeah.
So it's done when I'm happy with it in that moment. I know I'll probably, I look back at any song that I've put out and think, oh, maybe I could have changed this or that. But there's so much beauty in knowing that's the decision I made that day.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Right.
don't often revisit it. I just let it be what it was when I made it.
Have you always had that intuition, that feeling of like,
Yes.
yeah, it's done?
I'm very indecisive, but for some reason with music, I've been able to, when a song is done that day, it's just, that's what it is. That's what I decided. There's art in that.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah, and also, that's a great thing because years from now, you'll look back on those songs and you'll say, that's who I was at the time.
Exactly.
And
Yeah.
that's really, really important.
There's so much beauty in the imperfection and in the moment. I mean, I listened to the songs I wrote when I was in college, and they're very naive, and I'm like, wow, that's so shitty, but like so amazingly shitty because
Yeah.
that's both led me to where I am now,
Yeah.
and that's who I was, like an album of my life.
What's your relationship with rules and limits?
Oh boy. I at once will adhere to rules, but I take joy in breaking them. I'm never on time. Never.
Really?
No, never.
You know, it's kind of like paradoxical because I'm both spiritual. Like I believe in God and I, practice my faith. But at the same time, like as an artist and creative person, I think rules are meant to be bent and they're not the rules. But I do think, yeah, having healthy skepticism is like important.
Yep. I have a very convoluted relationship with rules and limits because I was like a chronic rule follower growing up.
Well, classical music.
Exactly.
Yes.
I was like classic goody two shoes, pretty much practiced my scales and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
followed the rules of life and of music. I mean, I didn't drink until I was 21. I followed literally
You
my
looked at
mom-
your driver's license and you were like, I am of legal age.
Yeah,
Okay.
literally, yeah. My mom was like, have a drink. What's wrong with you? Like, are you weird? She literally asked me in
Yeah,
high
yeah.
school. She was like,
Really?
are you okay? Like, do you have friends?
Oh, you have friends.
It be your
That's
own
so
mother.
terrible.
That's
I
cruel.
really
That's
didn't.
so cruel.
I know. Well, I didn't really go to the school
I'm sure
dances.
she
I
meant
felt
well.
kind of she meant so well.
She meant well.
And then when I moved from Iceland to Boston to go to college, and I all of a sudden, for the first time in my life, I was in jazz school. I was in contemporary music school, not classical music school.
Right.
And I was mortified. All of a sudden, all of these things that I believed about music and believed about life were just completely dismantled. I wasn't living with my family anymore. I like started dating and drinking. But
yeah.
to me, it was like a huge life change.
You were like, I was gallivanting about the city.
Yeah, I was like, oh, yeah. And same with music. I wasn't following the rules of classical music. I wasn't playing the notes that were literally put in front of me on paper. I had this moment where it just like everything changed for me, both as a woman and as a musician, where all of a sudden I started writing music and I started kind of breaking the rules. And it was literally at that point that I started to find success as an artist. It was like, you can almost like pin it down to like a week where everything changed for me. And there was such a distinct moment when I realized that actually, if you kind of don't know what you're doing, you might be doing something right.
I mean, artistically, there's only what works,
Right.
right? What works musically, what works visually.
Exactly.
And does it have resonance?
Yeah.
That's all that matters. Great rule breakers, their legacy lasts. Great musicians who broke the rules, artists, they last.
I had the complete opposite relationship with rules to the two of you. I was always like, hey, like the rule either exists and has always been true and will always be true, or you just made it up and it's not a rule that I have to respect or do anything with. Failure is not like the end of the road, is it? That's it. You're allowed to explore, you're allowed to make mistakes, you're allowed to try things that might seem a little bit adventurous or might seem a little bit dangerous that aren't mortally dangerous. I had 2 GCSEs by the time I left primary school, which, like, to translate that kind of out of the UK is an exam you normally do at 16. I did at 10, right?
Jesus.
Like, so people are always like, oh my God, you did this thing at 10. Were you not afraid? And I'm like, afraid of what? Like, if I failed at 10, I was a 10-year-old that failed a thing for 16-year-olds. Like, what was the big deal? And then there are ultimate rules. Don't put your hand in the fire. That's a genuine rule that will apply for adults and apply for children. But most other things,
Yeah. All right, what surprised you about this dinner?
What I was blown away by is how you were a child prodigy and genius, but you're not insane or cruel.
not like Dexter.
What surprised you most about this?
I'm surprised of how people from such different backgrounds and different fields can find such fruitful conversation.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
What surprised you?
That.
Oh, wow.
That how effortless it is and how much fun it is.
We should do this tomorrow.
Cheers, everyone.
Thanks. Thank you so much. It's really been a pleasure.
This was lovely.
Cheers.
Thanks very much.
Please,
Yeah,
come
thank
on.
you for having me.